The situation between the United States and Canada has continued to escalate with Mark Carney coming to power. After a period of relative calm, with trade relations seemingly stabilized, negotiations entering a wait-and-see phase, and temporary compromises announced, everything changed in recent days. Mark Carney visited Washington and met personally with Donald Trump. In front of the cameras, the politicians exchanged friendly handshakes, spoke of mutual respect, assured that trade relations are fine and that Trump respects Canada and its sovereignty. However, according to reputable media and insiders, behind the facade events were far more tense and dramatic. According to several major publications, including the Washington Ledger, Northern Trade Review, and Global Insights Canada, sources close to the negotiations claim that Trump again raised the issue of sharply increasing tariffs, demanded concessions from Ottawa in the energy and agricultural sectors, and threatened that if Canada does not come to the table with new conditions, tariffs will be doubled or even tripled. Moreover, insiders say that in private he reportedly expressed an idea many had previously considered mere rhetoric, that Canada absorbs American resources significantly, and that a scenario of turning Canada into the 51st U.S. state was possible. Such statements shocked the Canadian side. In response, Carney firmly declared that he would not tolerate such treatment of his country. In a leaked internal speech, he noted that Canada is not an appendage of the U.S., and I am accountable to our people for protecting national sovereignty. According to unofficial reports, he allegedly instructed ministries to prepare plans for reciprocal tariffs on American goods and even to consider a full trade halt with the U.S. in an emergency scenario. Naturally, such a step would be catastrophic for Canada's economy. Around 65% of Canadian exports currently go to the United States, and a disruption of this flow could create major socio-economic turmoil. But the very fact that Canadian authorities are willing to discuss extreme measures shows that patience has run out. This visit demonstrated that Trump's rhetoric has not changed. Behind the crooked smile and welcoming words lies blackmail and pressure. According to analysts at the Center for North American Studies, we are on the brink of a new round of tariff confrontation between the United States and Canada, and no one knows who will yield first. In recent days, other alarming signals have emerged. Diplomatic sources report that the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa has sent internal notes warning Canadian authorities that the U.S. is considering revising environmental agreements, import quotas, and the redistribution of investment flows. At the same time, U.S.-controlled media have launched a campaign claiming that Canada abuses export preferences and continues to subsidize industries that harm American producers. Canada, in turn, has activated its diplomatic channels. According to Northern Dispatch, Carney instructed diplomatic missions to collect and publicize cases where American companies allegedly engaged in illegitimate exports, aggressive pricing manipulation, and dumping in Canada. Ottawa is expected to publish a white paper on American corporate violations by the end of the month, which will be presented in the media as a response to American aggression. Domestic politics further complicate the situation. In the Canadian Parliament, voices calling for a strong response to U.S. pressure have grown louder. Left-leaning and nationalist lawmakers demand that the government use all available tools, including import bans on American goods, revising tax incentives, and even temporarily nationalizing strategic sectors. Conservatives, meanwhile, urge caution, reminding that the country's economy is too dependent on stable cross-border flows. Among experts and journalists, more and more versions are emerging that Trump is using a kind of trade pulse, testing how far he can go before Ottawa rebels. And Mark Carney, apparently, is not just a market financier and former governor of the Bank of England, but an active participant in a geopolitical chess game. Interestingly, this escalation is occurring against the backdrop of Canada's new agreements with alternative markets. Elements of a breakthrough strategy are showing in the renegotiation of deals with the EU, the Asia-Pacific region, and Latin America. Some insiders claim that Carney's government has already discussed transporting Canadian oil and agricultural products through British Columbia ports and Pacific routes, bypassing American infrastructure. If these plans are realized, it will be another blow to the United States in economic confrontation. It seems we are witnessing not just trade friction, but the beginning of a confrontation between two neighbors, where America is trying to restore its dominant role under the threat of trade measures, while Canada is presenting a growing national challenge. Insiders note that the upcoming fall and winter will be the test. If no decisive steps are taken, Trump could act quickly, impose new tariffs, abandon security agreements, and reorganize American investments in Canada to exert maximum pressure. Ultimately, this confrontation will not be merely economic. It is taking on a geopolitical character. It becomes clear that Canada, led by Mark Carney, does not intend to remain soft cannon fodder. And even if a scenario of complete rupture seems unlikely, the very readiness to speak in this manner is a symbol of new ambitions and determination. It should be understood that this visit, this public smile and statements, are only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath them are chess-like moves, pressure, threats, diplomatic maneuvers, and strategic stakes. Ahead lies a new round of tariff and political drama between the United States and Canada. According to analysts at Global Policy Monitor, Carney's visit to Washington was not just a diplomatic act, but a test of the strength of the entire North American alliance. Behind closed doors, sources claim that not only tariffs but also defense cooperation issues were discussed. Trump allegedly indicated that if Canada refused to accept the new trade rules, Washington could reconsider its participation in joint defense programs, including NORAD. This became a serious signal for Ottawa. Now the matter concerns not only trade, but also security. Carney, according to those close to his team, perceived these words as direct pressure and already instructed the Ministry of Defense to prepare a report on the degree of Canada's military dependence on the United States. This step in Ottawa was called unprecedented in the last 30 years. Everything indicates that the relations between the two countries have entered a new phase, a phase of mistrust, hidden threats, and economic blackmail. And if such scenarios once seemed impossible, now even the most cautious experts recognize that a new trade storm over North America is only a matter of time. Meanwhile, as noted by commentators from the Financial Herald and Canadian Intelligence Review, in the coming weeks a secret report is expected to be published, prepared at Carney's direction in cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Security Council. According to sources, the document contains a detailed analysis of the potential consequences of American tariffs and a scenario for economic mobilization in the event of a trade blockade. The report reportedly directly addresses the need to diversify trade routes, accelerate the shift to settlements in national currencies with other partners, and prepare for partial economic autonomy from the United States. Some insiders claim that Carney intends, for the first time since World War II, to initiate a strategic economic plan called Northern Shield, aimed at strengthening the role of the state in energy, transportation, and defense contracts. All of this indicates that Canada is seriously considering the possibility of life without American support. And if these steps are implemented, Washington may for the first time in decades face the prospect of its closest neighbor moving out of its influence and establishing its own independent course.